Yeah. Yo, this SFS for Wrestling presents Down the Road to see how, when, and where, but how, and when, and where. You know, yeah. But this podcast is about wrestling, the history of wrestling's portion of the podcast. You see, I've been up. I hadn't had much sleep, so I might sound a bit stoned because, yeah, I've been smoking weed all last night. So, and I'm a bit stoned to be honest. But I'll try my best to, yeah. What the fuck are you talking about, you cunt? Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to fucking be professional here, right? But this is the history portion of the podcast, okay? So listen up and shut the fuck up and let me take you on a fucking ride, okay? You twats. Yes, you're all pathetic people. You all deserve to die. I'm just saying that because every listener that bothers to listen to this show should die. Yeah. It just has to be. Sometimes I just have to get shit off my chest. Anyway, we'll get into 1997, and we're going to review WCW Super Brawl 1993. So we're going to review that. We're going to see what cage match reviews it has, and I'm going to do my own review for it. But now I'm going to get into 1997. Basically, from what the Observer, like Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller and all that, all the news from 97. So we're going to start at the start of 1997, We're going to start off. So, 1997, week 1. So here's the news. Paul Heyman is cautiously optimistic about a deal, not a meal, but a deal, being put back together, with his right-hand man, Steve Carell, over several conference calls about getting a slot on Request TV. Now, that's back in the 90s. We all had Sky TV back in this country. So we had, like, cable channels, Yeah, The deal, though, fell apart on the 20th of December for what Paul Heyman was trying to get, like, a request deal so they could, like, put ECW on pay-per-view, yeah? Right? But 20th December, that would mean 20th December 1996. Reportedly, the deal fell apart over the New Jack mass transit incident that happened 2 months prior in October, But Request TV at the start of the new year agreed to give ECW a chance on a different meeting and promote their first ever pay-per-view around March or April time, which any wrestling fan out there will know their first pay-per-view was barely motherfucking legal. Yeah, that was the first pay-per-view. Is everything alright with my microphone? Sorry, I'm going to try and stay on task today. But again, there's another fucking thing. Request TV services around 18 million households in the whole of the motherfucking USA. Yeah, I don't think we had Request TV in the 90s in this country. I think that was a special cable TV service for America. I don't think Request TV was on Sky. Can't remember having Sky. I didn't have Sky in the 90s. No, 2001. Yeah, I can remember. 2001 I got Sky. But wrestling was always on Channel 4. I started watching wrestling in 97. It was on Channel 4. Was WWF. WCW, I think, was on Channel 5, if I'm not mistaken. ECW, no, we didn't have access to that. But obviously, in various cables, in America, that's what they're trying to do. Obviously, they had Hardcore Weekly, didn't they? They had the weekly hardcore shows. I don't know what station did them, but they're trying to get a pay-per-view here. That's what I'm saying. But the problem they're having is most all cable networks have refused to show ECW because of the mass transit incident and the excessive, crazy violence dating back to 1995 from weekly shows of ECW and coming to a head really in late 96 with two angles that really put, mainstream media or any cable company off ECW. The first one was obviously the mass transit incident, the famous New Jack cutting the shit out of mass transit incident. Now, my take on that incident is, to be honest, the guy, I don't blame New Jack because this is what it is, right? Paul Heyman at first, to be honest, should have known, probably knew what type of guy, New Jack is, and probably knew that he was on the coke that night because New Jack didn't admit it. He was on the coke that night. So, I don't know, someone in higher management should have put him with someone else. But, to be honest, he should never have been allowed to fucking wrestle. That guy should have never, ever been allowed to wrestle. The guy was fucking 1,000 pounds, 17 years old, clearly had a fucking health condition to begin with, right? Could not fucking wrestle for shit. Then he comes in the backstage of the ECW locker room and asks New Jack to do spots. Now that's very disrespectful, is what I've heard through the grapevine. Okay, of backstage politics. You know how it goes. It's just like being in a gang, and or being in jail, and you're disrespectful. You're not paying your way. You got no money on your books. Shit like that. You got paperwork on you, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like Suge Knight knows that, and other people know that certain people got paperwork. Like it's no secret. Dr. Dre might have paperwork on him. Snoop, people around my area might have paperwork. But until you know that there's paperwork on them, then they ain't certified. You can't say someone's a rat unless they're certified. By meaning that, there needs to be paperwork, and then the guy's a certified rat. You understand what I'm saying? There needs to be paperwork. Anyway, I'm getting off fucking... Anyway, what I was saying is, fucking Goulash coming in disrespecting New Jack by saying New Jack now has been in the business for like 4 years or some shit like that, right? So he's coming in, some fucking guy, unknown guy, just clearly got health problems, says he's 17 years old. I mean, don't say he's 17, he says he's 21 and 17 years old, which, says he's been trained by Killer Kowalski, which is a fucking lie. So the guy's put himself in a bad fucking situation as it is. And if he knows anything about New Jack or ECW, he knows what he's doing. He should have been, clued up to the business, man, because he knew what he's doing. It's so fucking sad of what he did, to be honest. You think New Jack's gonna just be like, ha ha ha. I mean, think of what Bradshaw would probably do to him. I'm just saying. I don't know Bradshaw personally, but, New Jack is going to fucking, So New Jack is like, gets coked up and is felt very disrespected by it. Obviously, if it were me personally, I wouldn't do what New Jack did, obviously. But what I'm saying is, you got to understand New Jack's mentality. That is New Jack, and Paul Heyman probably knew that. So someone, upper echelon of ECW, if there was any, right? Really, I think they're all like a bunch of fucking crazy misfits like me, right? So, the guy just fucking comes in like, okay, you want to be a man, and asks New Jack to fucking cut him. So New Jack gets a fucking swivel, I think 8-inch, 10-inch swivel, and cuts the shit out of him, and that's it. But really, that's kid's fault. It's a fucking work. Yeah, New Jack went a bit far, but it's not really his fault, is what I'm saying, because New Jack is New Jack, if you understand what I mean. Like, I know I might be copping out for him here, but, New Jack's a funny motherfucker, and, he's coked up out of his head. He's probably not even knowing how hard he's stabbing him. And I'll get to it anyway. And the other incident, the crucifixion incident, which I don't think was fuck all. That was just it was just a great storyline between Raven and the Sandman. And, it was great. I had no problem with it. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. So, I don't have no problem with it. All it is a fucking cross. To be honest, being on a cross is not Christ. I'm going to go very sorry. I'm going to be very brief on this, but it's an act of surrender. So, and you got surrender as a thing that I'm working on in daily life. So when you're put against a cross, when Jesus is put against a cross, I'm no Christian, right? But that I think in the essence of it, it was a act of surrender. You know, just surrendering to everything in life, even the bad things in life. He is surrendering to. You know, and I need to do that, you know, because it's not just good in life, there's bad, you know, and you gotta take the good with the bad. That's all I'm saying. Sorry. I'm getting all philosophical here, but, you know, that's how it is. You know, life's very unpredictable. What can I say, you know? Um, yeah, so the crucifix angle, and, yeah, Kurt Angle was supposed to, try out that night, but that put him off. I don't know if Angle's a Christian or not. I'm a big fan of Kurt Angle. One of my favourite of all time. But yeah, the Sandman Raven angle, a really, really great angle. And they were just trying to shock the fans, and then fucking Raven. Fuck it, you know, Raven, you think he's gonna, the most half-hearted apology ever, man. He should have even gone out there and apologised, man. I can't believe he got told to go out there and apologise. It's like, for fucking what? The ECW fans don't give a fuck. Come on, man. They don't give a shit about fuck all, man. You can do anything. You could kill someone in the ECW arena, they'll probably fucking cheer you. Well, I won't go that far, but come on. They cheer some fucked up shit, which I haven't got nothing against. You know what I mean? Even with the New Jack shit, the crowd were cheering. Kill that motherfucker. Like, just, like, I don't know, most of the crowd might be off their fucking heads on weed or fucking, you know, drink or fucking drugs themselves. You know, as far as the wrestlers, because in the ECW locker room, I heard through the grapevine, you know, that, you had to fail the drug test to get a job there. You had to. If you didn't fail the drug test, then you didn't get a job. Because it was, yeah, the locker room was full of drugs. Which a lot of wrestling locker rooms, a lot of everywhere is filled with drugs, and, you know. But yeah, New Jack was coked up that night and did what he did. So, but yeah, this put, the ECW's, first pay-per-view that was really actually, you know, going to, I think Paul Heyman was trying to launch ECW into the mainstream as being like, instead of a distant, independent, you know, I wouldn't say independent, I'll say a cultish revolution, you know. Obviously, it didn't have the money that WCW or WWF had. To me, in 1995, 96, ECW had a lot better product, because WWF and WCW in 95 were at its worst, in my opinion. So ECW in 95 and 96 were actually ECW's best years. Had everything in ECW in them years. So had these two big, great years and developed a massive cult following, and now they're about to start the first pay-per-view, and they're trying to get a slot with Request TV. Yeah, Request motherfucking TV. So and the fans are pissed off because Request and other cable stations are not, due to these two incidents, are very skeptical about putting ECW on any of their cable stations. Now, hardcore ECW fans are blaming Wade Keller and probably Dave Meltzer as well. Yeah, because and other news outlets, because they, you know, put negativity around ECW, whether, you know, Phil Mushnick did with WWF. I don't know if he did with WCW. Don't know how much Dave Meltzer criticized ECW's over the top hardcore style. To me, I you know, I loved it, you know, because ECW didn't just have hardcore wrestling, it had great wrestling matches. You know, just check out the fucking Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, 2 out of 3 falls. That's one of the best technical wrestling matches of the 90s decade, right there. You know, if you love your technical wrestlers, picture perfect work style match, then that match, and the Psychosis Rey Mysterio match in October on ECW Hardcore TV was another classic superhero, Superfly, Lucha Libre, Mexicana, Fiesta. Yeah. So, so Hardcore ECW fans are pissed off because they want the motherfucking pay-per-view and they ain't getting it. Because of Wade Keller, fucking other news outlets and Dave Meltzer, whoever, right? So, in the incident of the New Jack Mass Transit incident, they said that New Jack used a 12-inch X-Acto knife. Dave Meltzer said that. But New Jack said that he used a scalpel, if I've got that correct. He didn't use a X-Acto knife. So, I believe New Jack, to be honest, because New Jack's never, if you've listened to New Jack and any of his interviews, he never lies, just admits everything. You know, he admits that he's not sorry for what he did. I mean, I saw it on the Kayfabe interview. He's like, Sean Oliver asked him, are you sorry? Did you feel any remorse? He's like, I'd lie to you if I was telling you I did, because I fucking don't. And he's just being honest. I mean, do I share the same beliefs as New Jack? No. Do I think New Jack is hilarious and funny? Yes. I mean, wrong place, wrong time. What can you say? The guy should have been smartened up, to be honest. I mean, say what you fucking want, man. That's just my opinion. Anyway, so reportedly New Jack was in character while addressing the mass transit's dad after the incident, because if you've watched the tape, you can see Thingy. You watch them fucking tape, you can hear, get off! He's only 17! The guy's shouting like a deranged fucking giraffe in the fucking, what the fuck am I going on about? Just just a crazy dad just saying, oh my God, stop it! And the fans are like, what the fuck is this fucking cunt doing? Man, we're fucking enjoying the show. This guy's getting sliced to fucking death here. And New Jack's fucking smashing him hard over the head with a fucking toaster, trash cans, fucking stop signs, fucking skewers, fucking knuckle dusters. I don't think he used the knuckle duster that much. But, fucking, like New Jack, right, he got that fucking knife, yeah, and glasses down on his ass, yeah. Devon, fucking, Mustafa are fighting outside the ring, yeah. This is what I see on tape. And then New Jack gets that, just beats up Gulas a bit, and then gets that fucking, what New Jack said, I believe, the scaffold, New Jack gets a scaffold and just boom right into his fat fucking forehead, just slices it. Boom! Fucking piles and piles of blood. Fucking face fat chubby. Fucking he's like this Gulas. He's like being cooked. He's like this fat cunt that's been cooked up, like fried up, and he's got this, that meat that you have, the dollop. He's full of dollop, like the fat meat of the dollop. Yeah, New Jack slices that dollop with a scaffold. Oh, he cuts that boy deep, and he's bleeding rivers of blood. Oh, and ECW fans are fucking loving every second of it. I'm having a fucking wank because this shit's so funny. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just a bit stoned at the moment. Oh, God. I need a fucking therapist. Oh, God. Sorry, see what you get with me. Listen, I'm about to put some information out here about my intentions for this, right? I've said to myself, because I've got a little bit of time in my hands, because I'm writing a book, Mr. B, fictional book, Mr. B, okay? Right? So, I do not like to have time on my hands. I always like to occupy my time, because if I don't, my mind starts going crazy, yeah? So, I might start using drugs or something, okay? So, what I'm saying is, I'm doing this to occupy me. I'm going to do 100 episodes. There's this guy, I'll do 4 parts of this show a week, yeah? I'm going to do the first part is going to be reviewing WWE Raw, maybe SmackDown, and going through today's wrestling news. That's going to be one part of the show. The second part is going to be about the history, economic history of the wrestling business, reviewing pay-per-views and news from the past. The part 3 is not going to be anything to do with wrestling. It's just going to be me talking shit. And hopefully I will not go on about politics or religion. Because I did the last show and I might have put some people off. If so, I'm sorry, but you know I have to express myself. I don't mean nothing by it for anyone. You know, I don't mean any ill will to anyone. But this is what you got. Anyone who's listening to this needs to keep this in mind. Okay, you know, right? Is I am not going to look at any comments, whether they're good or bad, right? So it's not that I'm being a dick or anything like that. It's just I'm not that type of guy. I don't use X. I don't use Facebook. I just don't like using social media. And you know everyone's got an opinion. And I'm like, if you listen to me, good. You know, if you comment, then I'm not going to see the comments. But the boy, this my friend is going. There might be a part 4 of the podcast with the boy interviewing me, and the boy is a mystical character who's going to be part of this podcast, who's going to be interviewing me. He has been a wrestler himself. He actually knew. I'm not sure actually if he did, if he met Saraya or not, but he did a bit of wrestling down in Wigan and stuff like that. So he's going to be interviewing me. He's called the boy. Just call him the boy. Okay? And my name is obviously Dodgy Odgy. You know, Dodgy Odgy. I've actually got an album, a very crappy album, the shittest rap album ever. But it's full of, it's got old school beats. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And I love that 90s vibe of rap music. So, just check that out. Yeah, there's got some songs on there, you know, about 20 songs. You know, I recorded at least over 1,000. It was like over 10 years ago, man. And during that period, man, I was all fucked up on drugs and alcohol and doing crimes and shit like that. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just addressing that, okay, you know. So, hopefully I'm going to do 100 of these and see how it goes. If people listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. I'm going to do 100 anyway. If I'm the only person who listens to this show, then that's okay with me. If you know, and if you got something really nice to say, then the boy will tell me about it, and I will give a message to the boy to give back to you. If you know, if you might support me or something, I'm very grateful for that. Just understand that if I don't get back to you, it's because it's not my style to read comments. I'm sorry, it's just the way I am. You know, it is how it is. That's all I've got to say about that. Okay, now that I've addressed that, let's get back to the show. So, New Jack though admitted, well, I think he admitted we didn't go court till '98, so this is like early '97. He's January '97. So New Jack has since admitted whether it was New Jack the character or Jerome Young, but you know people are saying maybe it's the same person because obviously New Jack's saying in interviews he was coked up out of his head and pissed off that mass transit was trying to call all the spots and shit. But reportedly, New Jack accidentally, which I believe, cut mass transit up. Even though New Jack tries to say he did it on purpose, yeah, he did it on purpose. But I think the severity of the cut, you know, was you know, New Jack didn't mean to cut him that severely. What I'm saying is because he was coked up, basically, is he was reckless because he said that he sniffed coke to get him in a fucking in the zone, you know, in the fucking mode of a killer mode, you know. But you know, he's off his head, so and it's part of the fucking show. At the end of the day, that's all I've got to say about that. You know, but yeah, it was an accident. You know how deeply he cut him. Definitely it was an accident. I mean, yeah, he was hitting him hard with the toaster and the fucking stop sign and the garbage can and the steel chair and all that, but New Jack's stiff, A lot of wrestlers back then were stiff, especially in ECW where you could kind of get away with being as stiff as you fucking wanted, I think. So, reportedly, New Jack laughed to other wrestlers. That was reported. Don't know by who, but yeah. But other people have said that he was coked up and he weren't trying to hurt the kid, meaning Gulas. And as you watch the tape of the incident, Mass Transit's father is actually at the ringside and saying he's only 17, but he's saying he's only 17 reportedly way before New Jack even cuts Gulas. So his dad's saying he's 17 way before that, because I think New Jack's hit him with a chair or a couple of wrestling moves before, even he gives Gulas the first cut, the first blade. So, yeah, because it started off the match, if I can remember, with New Jack, smashing crutches and other fucking crazy fucking objects, kitchen sinks, fucking frying pans, swivels, what the fuck ever they got in the ECW arena. Yeah, you're smashing all the objects over Mass Transit's fat fucking jelly bobo back. And the shots. Yeah, but I'm telling you, the shots that New Jack was giving Gulas would not be very harmful for a trained professional wrestler. That was what reported. So what I'm meaning by a trained professional wrestler, meaning, say, like, Taz or RVD, who are trained professional wrestlers, were taking them shots by New Jack, and probably did. It wouldn't affect them because they would know how to take it, and it's not that bad. It's not like fucking C4 or fucking what Moxley went through, the fucking spikes or shit like that. Because New Jack is a stiff wrestler, right? I'm telling you, yeah, he's stiff, but he's not the stiffest, right? There's a lot, he might be the craziest. He might fucking stab you up and throw you off a fucking 40-foot scaffold and try and murder you, but so I'll stab you 16 times and say to the paper, oh no, I only stabbed him 9 times. Oh no. I don't know. Was it 16? Fuck. Oh no, man. I thought it was only 9. Shit, it was only 9 times I stabbed him. Why are you saying it was 16 times? I swear it was only 9. That's all. That's all it was. It was 9. Fucking hell. I mean, what's so bad about that? So yeah, New Jack is not the stiffest wrestler. Man, RVD is a stiffer wrestler than New Jack, meaning the way he hits you. People like Hardcore Holly and Bradshaw, very stiff. I mean, the clothesline from hell is the worst move. I think I would, if I was a wrestler, that is the worst move I would hate to take. I would hate to take that move. I mean, some people have seen it, like Bradshaw back in the day. Some people who fell victim to the clothesline from hell. But he took your fucking head off your fucking shoulders. I'm telling you, man. You had to take that good. I don't know how you took that good. Maybe Stevie Richards could, who does them podcasts, Maven or Stevie Richards could tell you. But I think Stevie Richards said that the clothesline from hell is the worst, the worst move you could possibly take. It's that or the fucking, for me, it would be that clothesline from hell and a pile driver. I mean, if it's not done properly. Say the one that Owen Hart gave Austin. That power driver in that direction, that's fucking dangerous, that one. Because if your fucking your head goes below the fucking ass, your fucking neck's broken, man. Yeah. So, I think it's called a sit-down tombstone anyway, I think it's called. If I am not mistaken. But yeah. What really got fucked up, really, was New Jack was going crazy with the toaster. It was after New Jack cut Gulas, Mass Transit. So it was the fucking toaster was like New Jack was smashing the motherfucking toaster right on Mass Transit's fat fucking head. Just bang, bang, bang. Mass Transit is seeing fucking stars. He's fucking seeing double. He's like, why the fuck did I do this? What a fat, stupid twat I am for trying to even think I can get in the ring with these professionals. I mean, that's stupid. I mean, sorry. I mean, it is stupid. I mean, I don't know Mass Transit. I'm sorry what happened to him. But at the end of the day, you know, it's one of them things, you know. Not, or, you know, it might be bad for him. What can I say? Bad for him. You know, how can you feel sorry for everyone in the world? You know, you can't. Or otherwise you go fucking crazy. That don't mean I'm a psychopath. You know, just because, you know what I mean, though? And this is what people think, because I might not care about certain things, like I don't care about, say, what's happening in Palestine. Is, yeah, man, I've got my own fucking life. I mean, the brain can't, well, my brain anyway, cannot handle too much things. I mean, if you cared about too much, you would cripple yourself from anxiety. Of course, I care about things, I wouldn't do something like that because I don't think I'm a nasty guy like that. You know, I don't. Believe me, I'm not. Why are you thinking I'm a psychopath? I'm not a psycho just because I love the sight of blood. I want New Jack to stab that motherfucker up worse than Michael Myers stabbed in one of his victims at Lake Gosh, or Ted Bundy and Lake Hammersmith brutalized his two victims in the same bloody day. It doesn't matter. It's just entertainment. I'm innocent. Right. So, but reportedly, now this is reportedly, and this comes from Meltzer, and you always got to take, especially today, what Dave Meltzer says with a grain of salt. I mean, back in the day, I think it was a lot more credible. But reportedly, a lot of fans actually left the show during the Mass Transit incident. And reportedly, one fan had a fucking seizure. I don't know if that was a kid or something, because there were kids in that arena. And what I'd say, if I was a parent, I would not take my kid to an ECW match. If I was a parent in the 90s, no way. You know, I wouldn't do that to a kid. You know, to anyone 18 above, it's fair going. You know, it's fair going, but, you know, a kid, no. I personally wouldn't. Even though most of the fans, while Mass Transit were getting, most of the fans while Mass Transit was getting beaten to an inch in a rant, were actually, all of them were most of them were chanting, "You fat fuck, you fat fuck, you fat fuck, you're too fat to drive a fucking truck, let alone a fucking Mass Transit. How can you be a fucking Mass Transit driver? How could you fit into the fucking driving seat? You know, in the buses, they have the fucking portables, don't they? Like, you know, the sweat boxes, when you get put in the sweat box when you're fucking been arrested and you're getting put into jail. You get put in the sweat box, yeah? And one of these buses, that's what it's like. You don't have much room. So how the fuck, and I've seen these portables in America in these buses, how the fuck was he a bus driver being that fat? The guy would fucking, you know, suffocate himself to death, even driving. You know, he'd suffocate, his head would just be cramped into the fucking window pressure. You know, the fucking wheel would probably get caught under his fat fucking neck and choke him to death. You know, it is what it is with me. But God damn you. Isn't it, Hershey? Yes, it is, Hershey. You're wagging your tail. Yes, my co-executive producer, Hershey. She is now 13 years old. She still acts like a little puppy. So just taking a drink. Let's have a bit of a vape. So yeah. Reportedly, after the incident, on the streets, word on the streets, yow, is reportedly hundreds of thousands of underground tapes of the Mass Transit incident were being sold months prior to the incident on the black market. Over 100,000 tapes underground on the black market, at flea markets, swap meets, what they call in America, and shit like that. Right. WCW Monday Nitro, the 30th of December, 1996. The Monday Nitro. The attendance for that Nitro was 4,021 fans, and they paid a total of $49,000 and $321 dollars. Yeah, $49,000 $321. The location of this Nitro was no other than in Kane's territory, where Kane is the mayor of, in Knoxville, Tennessee, at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. TV rating, it got a 3.6 and 5.2 share. I think that's average rating throughout the program. But it was a 3.6, the show, and a 5.2 share, meaning it went up. I think it went up 5.2, then back down to like a 4 or some shit like that, you know. Cage match rating gave it a 5.2. I haven't watched it, the show. I probably won't. I might do one day, you never know. I think I have seen the show though, to be honest. I think I can remember it. Because at the start of the show, the Giant teases a defection from the NWO, because the Giant was like, I don't know, it was like the 4th member who joined the NWO. After, you know, the main 3, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. So, yeah. Because the Giant won the number 1 contender match for Hogan's title in a battle royal at World War III. I think that was a couple of months prior. And throughout and another thing in the program after that, DDP hinting at joining the NWO. He was like the kind of the people's champion by this point. He really found his niche by this point, DDP, by 97. Roddy Piper took a severe beating from the NWO, and the Giant refused to join in the beating which Roddy Piper was taking from the NWO until Hogan slapped the fuck out of the Giant, meaning the Big Show. The Giant then grabbed Hogan around the throat, and this is on the ramp, and Hogan's like, come on, brother, stop it, brother, you're Andre's. I thought you're Andre's brother, man. I want to look after you, man. Andre told me to look after you. Andre, you know your son, your dad died 6 days after I slammed him in the Silverdome, brother. 6 days after he died, brother. After I slammed Andre, brother, in the Silverdome, he died, brother. 6 days. And the Giant's like, I'm not even fucking Big Show's fucking kid. What are you talking about? I mean, I ain't Andre's kid. You think I'm a fucking French fucking Alp? I ain't from the French fucking Alps. And to be honest, Hulk Hogan, you're full of shit, man. Are you fucking on the weed, Hogan? Because it wasn't 6 days after your match at WrestleMania 3. It was 6 fucking years! In 93, he died, you fucking idiot. Oh, sorry, brother. I didn't mean to. Sorry, brother. Too much Hulk pasta, brother. Too much pasta in my. Oh, I might want a Hulk turd after this, brother. Oh, I'm gonna shit a big Hulk turd. Oh, brother. Yeah. So, there you go. So, yeah, the Giant has Hogan by the throat, and, Hogan is going, no, brother. And Hogan then says, Giant, you can have the title match. Don't worry, you can have it. Right. WWF Raw, the 30th of December, 1996. Attendance was 6,855. The gate was a massive, this is pretty massive actually. The gate was $100,000, 924. First ever for WWF Raw, you know. The location was Albany, New York, and the Knickerbottom Arena. Yeah, you know. That was out there, you know. Triple H throughout the show was on commentary, and in the crowd, throughout the show was ECW and NWO and no ECW and BWO signs were everywhere throughout the crowd. Throughout this program, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart had one of their many heated promos, and on this very program as well, Shawn Michaels does his infamous striptease. Is that the one where he's in them swimming trunks, the black swimming trunks, and he puts a fucking banana in his crotch and starts fucking humping it while he's on his back? Is that? I don't know if that's the one. And on Livewire, it's reported that Vince Russo, being on Livewire, who called Vic Venom at the time, was heavily criticised for giving away the results from the upcoming 1997 Royal Rumble, that Bret Hart was going to win the Rumble. Now, this is what I mean, Vince Russo, man. You know, you complain about the internet marks and all that, and the internet kind of ruining wrestling. Well, you're kind of one of the first ones who does it. I mean, who gives away the results to a fucking... I mean, that Vince McMahon should be on your ass for that shit. I mean, I don't, I'm surprised you even fucking, to be honest, the way Vince was, I'm surprised you kept your job after that. I mean, that's a bit fucked up, man, that shit. I mean, if I was running a wrestling promotion, I had a big pay-per-view coming up, like a Royal Rumble, and then one of my creative writers, who does the magazine for me, who has his own radio show, then says, and I've got planned that Bret Hart is going to win my Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania, the main event at WrestleMania, and only for him to say that to everyone, yeah, Bret Hart is going to win the Royal Rumble. I mean, yeah, so, yeah, for a good reason that got heavily criticised, in my opinion. Yeah, But, yeah, so WWF, had to pivot the original plan because the original plan for the 1997 Royal Rumble was for Bret Hart to win. But they had Austin. Then they had to pivot and make Austin win instead. Because that WrestleMania was, any wrestling historian will know, if they've listened to, some various podcasts, that the original plan for WrestleMania 13, which I'm glad didn't take place, because we got one of the best matches of all time, which between Austin and Bret Hart, was it was going to be the second affair, between the rematch between Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. It was supposed to be the second match, and I think Bret was supposed to go over, and then there was going to be a third match, I think, at SummerSlam, where I don't know who's going to win that, but it was going to be a trilogy, a classic trilogy. But that never happened. So the cage match rating for this Raw, the 30th December, was a 5.1. During the week, the first week of January in 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin required multiple stitches over the new year. Now, the 1996 Observer Awards. Now, this is from Dave Meltzer saying this. He's saying the Observer Awards, the dumbest promotional tactic was New Jack stabbing mass transit. Is that a promotional tactic? I don't know if that's how the fuck is that a promotional tactic? Best angle. Raven steals Sandman's son. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't think there was any better wrestling angle in 96, than the Raven and Sandman. Because I think that was 95 was Tommy Dreamer and Raven was a better storyline, but that was more 95, I think. Worst angle. Goldust has got a crush on Razor Ramon. Yeah, Razor fucking hated that, I heard. Scott Hall really hated that angle. I don't know who came up with that angle. Whether it was Russo, Pritchard, I doubt it was Cornette or JR. Worst babyface, the Booty Man. Yeah, I couldn't fucking stand him. Worst heel, Billy Gunn. Well, he didn't find his niche. Where was he still with the smoking guns and being managed by Sonny? You know. Yeah, I mean, you don't know what happened to Bart Gunn. He got fucked over with the brawl for all. Billy Gunn, got over though. Yeah, about 98, 99 started really getting over. Did with Mr. Ass, you know. Right, the intermission, intermission.